Now then guys, how's it going? Welcome back to another live stream at last. It's been probably about a month since the last one. Oh, and I can hear myself, so there's an error straight away. Can we turn that off? There we go. Right, that's better for me. It's a bit confusing when you can hear yourself about 3 seconds behind. So, yeah, welcome to the live stream. Today, I wanted just to talk a little bit, just quickly, about... Well, I'm going to share my PC build road of trials, because it's been a bit of a mission. I'm back again. How am I back again? I'm in 3 places on this live stream. Right. Third time lucky. Yeah, I'm going to share my PC build road of trials. Basically, I've moved away from the Mac. I don't know if you can see it lying dead on the sofa over there. There it is. It's not dead, it's just old. It needs a rest. So, I've moved to PC. And this is what this video is going to be about. A bit of the story about the why it's happened and why I've done it and the kind of problems that I've had along the way, because I am completely new to PC building. It's not as hard as I thought it was going to be, but it's a lot harder than just buying a Mac. Well, it's easier financially, but it's a lot harder technically than just buying a Mac. So that's what today's about. But if you stick around to the end, I'm going to share because I've got a new camera setup as well as a PC setup, and for that I needed to make a look for this camera. So I'm going to share how to do that. If you're using OBS, which I am for streaming, or for any of you recording or video capture, you can add looks, built-in looks to the cameras that you have plugged in, and it just records with that look. And it uses a LUT, L-U-T, lookup table. And I'm going to show you how I made the one for this camera at the end. So, yeah, let's get into it. I'm Jack. For years, I've told other people's stories for a living. Now, I'm living to tell my own. So, I'm Jack. I talk about content creation, living life, paragliding. Gonna be more of that on here eventually when I get around to actually doing some flying. I basically talk about anything that's been interesting to me. This is more of a kind of a web diary for me rather than an episode program that I'm putting out there. So it's a way of me recording what I'm doing and how I'm doing it and why and what the results were. So maybe you can learn something, maybe even if it's just how not to do something. That's what this is all about, so stick around for that. Now, today's problem, the setup. What was the problem? So I did one live stream here before and I was using my iMac, but I've had for I think 7 years, 6 or 7 years I've been using the iMac, and I'll freely admit I've been a complete Apple fanboy. I had the iPad, I had the iMac, I had the MacBook, one version of it. I've had iPhones for a while, I don't anymore. And yeah, I was using the iMac for the streaming and for video editing and that kind of stuff. And when I started doing the stream, I found I couldn't record the video locally at the same time as streaming it without dropping the quality significantly. And also the fans inside it would whir up and it would just sound horrendous. So I realised that something's got to change, and I've been using the Mac stuff for it forever. So I felt I wanted a change, and it's good creatively sometimes to get out of your comfort zone and to just do something new and something different. So I've been looking at building my own PC for quite a while. So that was kind of the thought in the background. Also, there's been a lot about Apple lately of not doing it for people, if you know what I mean. Don't get me wrong, their products they're designed beautifully, I'll admit that. They look really, really great, and I like that. but there's a few problems that have finally got to me, like you're paying a premium for the look and you're not necessarily getting up-to-date parts. You can't update them, like hardware-wise, you can't upgrade them beyond swapping out a hard drive, but you can't on the iMac without breaking the screen. And if something goes wrong, and I've had this happen before to a MacBook, if something goes wrong, like the GPU circuit goes kaput, you take it back in, and the recommendation sometimes is like, it's going to cost so much to fix it, and it's only going to cost a little bit extra just to buy new. So you kind of get locked into this buying new all the time and not being able to fix stuff, and I like fixing things. And then this was all in the back of my mind, and then one day I was helping my mum choose her new iPhone, right? I went to the Apple store that I haven't done for ages. I haven't been to the Apple store for ages. And I walked in, and it's the usual clean Apple look and sparse, apart from the number of people in there. And we were trying to find an iPhone 7 or 8, something like that. iPhone 7. But she didn't want the new one. She wanted the one that was more cost effective. And I'm looking around at all these phones, and I think they all look the same. They all look exactly the same. I cannot tell which is which. Now, to be fair to Apple, lots of mobile phones all look the same now, because you're basically making a rectangular piece of glass for something. How different can they be? But within the Apple store, I can't tell the version of each one. And usually there was like a little printed piece of card next to each one, like on a little acrylic stand, you know, and it'd tell you what it was and the specs of it and all that kind of stuff. That is gone. That is gone now. Now there's an app on the phone that is stood there in front of you. So you have to go up to each one, touch their screen, interact with it, find out which one it is. No, it's not that one. And I was like, they all look the same. All their laptops look the same. All of the Macs look the same. And that doesn't appeal to me. It used to appeal to me, and it will appeal to some people, that you get that consistency of look. But I just realized, I thought, this is boring. This is boring. So that was kind of the inciting incident that just thought, right, I have to move away. I have to start moving away. So I went for it. A friend of mine put me in touch with the PC Part Picker UK.com website, where you can pick all of the parts that you need. And after loads and loads of research and everything, I was looking at it, and it's like, AMD now making fantastic processors for a really decent price compared to Intel. They work great for content creation and streaming and photo editing. So yeah, let's go for it. Now, some of you may know, some of you may not, but lately AMD, like within the past fortnight, AMD have released their newest version of those processors, and I was waiting for them to come out before I did my build. But I'm so impatient. I was waiting for them, and then I thought, no, I'm going to use their version 2. So the version 2, so I got the Ryzen 7 2700. One, because all of the stuff is out there already, and it has been tested and updated and everything, and they now know it works. It's not a fresh thing that people are going to have to tweak and update and get to a point of being good. It is already there. So I wanted something that I knew I could start with and get going with straight away. So that is why I jumped for the previous version, even though there's a new one coming out. So the whole build was based around that, and then it was just a case of like buying parts, and you know, Amazon packages come in here, there, and everywhere, and waiting for things to arrive. And I filmed the unboxings. Right, this is confession time. I filmed the unboxings, and I filmed parts of the build, and I was going to put together a whole vlog about building the PC. And I got all of the footage. I never backed up the footage. You can tell where this is going. I never backed up the footage. And once I'd got the PC built, I thought, right, I can get the stuff off of this card now. And I No, that's not what happened. I didn't do that. I used my camera to plug in to check if I could do the streaming with my camera, because I was using webcams before. See if I could do that, but I needed to output it in NTSC, so 60 frames rather than the 50 that my camera was set to. So I switched my camera over and it formats the card. Yeah, I have lost all of the footage of the build for the PC. So sorry if that would have interested you, then I'm really sorry. But what I have got, and it is a poor substitute, I have got some footage that I filmed on my phone. I got footage that I filmed on my phone after the thing was built. So you've got some already assembled footage and some footage of the boxes. So it's not a brilliant unboxing and PC build video, this, but that was never the point. This was going to be a story about why I've moved and whatnot, in case you're interested. So yeah, so sorry, lost all the footage. And then it was a case of getting reacquainted with Windows. Now, I've used Windows before and I've used it on my tablet, so I'm not that unfamiliar with it. But setting it up and getting all of the settings and everything in BIOS and stuff tweaked and working well without any blue screens, which I've had quite a few blue screens of when setting it up, that was a challenge that needed to be overcome. What else? Actually, I'll show you the the B-roll, the mobile phone filmed footage and the B-roll, so at least you got something interesting to look at rather than my face. So this is the footage I got on my phone after I'd lost all of it on my camera. So there's the box for the monitor that I got. I went with a 4K. The graphics card needed to be good, but not top notch. I didn't want to get the latest version, the bleeding edge stuff. Again, this would be the GTX 1070 overclock. It's perfectly fine. It will work well enough for me, for what I need, and it's not a ridiculous price, especially when it's a second-hand Amazon returns. So that was pretty good. These are the cameras that I was using, the Logitech C9 something. This is what I'm using now. I've dusted off the old Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera and a 14mm fisheye lens, and I've got the poor Sony stuck up there doing the top-down view. So I've had this camera for ages. I've used this camera in the past when I used to be doing client work, and now it had just been sat in a box because it's got a few issues. It runs through battery really quickly. You're probably lucky if you get half an hour battery, especially with the age of the batteries that they are now. But it's got a really good flat image, and it's a really high quality output, and it outputs HDMI. And so I've got it fixed up onto the shelf here, permanently plugged in, so it's drawing power from the mains. Put the 14mm on it, and it's brilliant. Cable management was a massive thing, not just in the case, but absolutely everywhere on this thing, because there's so many. You could never plug this many things into the back of an iMac. That's insane. Love the monitor. Dell, for me, Dell just make really nice monitors. I just love the look of them. And then it was a case of moving everything over from the iMac to the PC, which meant formatting drives to NTFS and transferring 1.7 terabytes of stuff, which took all day. Eventually I managed to get it to work. There's a few crashes. That was moving all of my files and everything over, and there's a few issues there. IPS displays, fantastic. It's great for photo editing and it's great for video editing because of the colours that you can, and you can even pick the picture profiles on this one, which I couldn't really do on the other. Well, there's probably a way of somebody will tell me there's a way of doing it on the iMac, but I'm just completely oblivious to that. Yeah, Ryzen 2700, G.SKILL, 32 gigs of RAM. All those numbers mean something to somebody. There's the graphics card. These new SSDs, this is fantastic. this is what I use as my main drive, an SSD, an M.2 slot SSD. I've partitioned it off, so I've got it's a 1 terabyte, so I think I've got about 125 gig for the C drive, and then the other bit I'm using for my current working projects. So any video editing that I'm doing right now is on there, and then if it's not on there, once I've finished it, I ship it off to I've got some I've got some hard disk drives, some big Western Digital, big fat 3.5-inch things. That's off in the archive, and that's rated for redundancy, so it's copied to 2 drives, and so if I lose one, I've still got some and I can replace it, hopefully. Yeah, and then LEDs. LED all the things. I think it is very difficult to try and buy a PC part that does not have LEDs in it. So I just embraced it. I mean, the PC is under the desk, so I can see it. If I look at it like this. There's a window on the side. It wasn't a consideration for me really, but you know, LED all the things is the mantra at the moment. So cables migration, yeah, we've got all that. I'm reading my notes, by the way, unashamedly. Yeah, and we are now set up. Everything is, well, everything mostly is set up, and this stream is going. It's been recorded locally. I'm using 4% of my CPU, which is just ridiculous. The fans aren't cranked too much, and everything's working. But there's a few things. I'm not able to use certain Mac-based programs. Now, I used to use, for my video editing, I used to use Adobe Premiere Pro, and then I made a switch and started using Final Cut Pro X, Pro 10. And of course that's Mac only. And that was good. I liked the way it was quick. It was quick to pull together a vlog-like edit. But I've now moved over to DaVinci Resolve, which is completely free. Like you can buy the paid version, which gives you a few extra features, but I'm not considering using them right now. So I've got the free version, and it not only can you use it for organizing all of your projects and everything how you want. You can do like graphics animations and things. You can do audio edits. They've even split the editing page up now into 2. So there's a quick cut version, which is like Final Cut, and then there's a hard edit version, which is just like all the other video editors. But DaVinci Resolve is known for being the industry standard for cinema color grading, and it is really, really good for that. And that is built in, that is part of it. I mean, people would pay just for that part of it, and I'm using the whole thing. And the other advantage is it can use your GPU, which nice. Premiere can't do it as well as far as I've heard. I've never compared the two things side by side, so I'm just going off what people tell me. I do that a lot. Do your own research. And so it's really, really good. It fits with that. It's free. Photoshop. The version of Photoshop that I owned was Mac only, so Photoshop's gone, I'm afraid. But I had previously bought Affinity Photo. Now, if you don't know anything about the Affinity line of products, you should check them out. They're really, really good. It's as good as, if not better than, Photoshop. Affinity Photo. And you can do everything that you can do in Photoshop, and it's got a few things extra, but their pricing model is you buy the software and then it's yours. There's no subscription, which I didn't want to do because I'm not really a business and I can't justify the ongoing cost and the incredible cost of, if you accumulate it for a year. I think Affinity Photo was £35 when I bought it. That's insane. But something that rivals Photoshop, £35, that's crazy. So I use Affinity Photo because I'd already bought that in the past. I still use Lightroom. Now, the version of Lightroom that I had bought was a standalone software desktop app version from Adobe, and it's Windows or Mac, so I just got rid of it from the Mac and now it's on here. So I've got that back. So all that works, and obviously streaming is OBS. So we're back. Everything is working. Everything is going, and I am really happy about it. It looks great as well. But managing cables, I've got a thing about cables. So much so that the motherboard that I had for this, that I got for this, I can show you. The motherboard that I got does not include Wi-Fi, because I thought if I'm going to be streaming, I'm not going to be using Wi-Fi anyway, and our Wi-Fi connection is not fantastic. B450F gaming, this does not include Wi-Fi, so I needed to get a Ethernet cable, but the studio, back bedroom office, the studio is upstairs at the back of the house. The internet connection and the router is downstairs at the front of the house. So when I had done this before, I had a huge cable that I made myself, and it was just stretched through the door, down the hall, down the stair rail, and then suspended across the living room. It wasn't long enough. I'd made it for something else in the past, and I just had it lying around still, so I hadn't measured it for this. And it was just long enough, but it wouldn't lie along the floor, so it was stretched across the middle of the living room. So I needed a new Ethernet cable, and I hate seeing cables. So I got a flat one, a live flat. I didn't take any footage of it. Now it took me the best part of a day, and that's not, well, of a working day, so probably 3 hours to run this thing around the edges of the room, underneath the carpet, from upstairs at the back of the house, down the stairs, and that included going down each step like this. There's no just run it. I could have just run it along the skirting when tacking it in, but I hate seeing that. So I ran it down the stairs, across the living room, and we're plugged in. Obviously, well, we should be streaming right now. I can't actually see it. So that was that. Yeah, that is the PC build story. So what time are we on now? Half an hour. You've listened for half an hour maybe of me rambling on about what on earth has been going on in my life. So, the one thing I didn't mention, capture cards. For the two cameras that I've got, so the Pocket Cinema camera, the original one, not the 4K one, and the Sony a6300, they're feeding HDMI in. I have, still got one. These Blackmagic Deck Link. These were originally bought when I was doing client work, when we were doing live recording for that. It wasn't live streaming back then, it was just live record, so we didn't have to edit it after the fact. And we had 3 of these because we had 3 cameras, and I had just kept them. They were all just boxed along with the Pocket Cinema camera. They were all boxed up, and they're PCIe cards, so they will not fit internally into a Mac. You'd have to buy some kind of external enclosure, like some kind of massive dongle, because they like their dongles to fit. So once I got the new PC, it was like, I can install these. So I've dusted off two of those, and then they're connected in, and I finally got them to work. It was a bit finicky, but they now work consistently. And this is where you're getting this image from the Sony and this image from the Blackmagic. So they're really good. And I've had them lying around, so they're now put back to use, which is good. Right, that's enough rambling on. What we're going to do now, look making, how to make the look for this. So this isn't how this camera looks normally. I don't know if I'll be able to. I might be able to show you. Wee trippy. What am I going to do here? Come on. Right. I'll be able to show this. That's what it looks like normally. I know right up here you have to look at the little picture. But that's what it looks like normally. It's really flat image. It brings up the shadows and it drops down the highlights, and it's really flat, but it gives you a huge range on this camera. I think when it was brought out they were advertising it as having 14 stops, which is crazy. That doesn't sound right. I think that's what they said. 14 stops, which is huge. But this is what it looks like out of the camera. It is meant to be edited and color graded, but in OBS you can apply a LUT, a lookup table, which basically says it is a table. It's like when you see this color, hue, saturation, turn it to this one. When you see this one, turn it into this one. It's a lookup table, and when you apply it, that's what it looks like. So I'm going to show you how to make that. If you're using OBS for live streaming, this might come in handy if you want to make your own look for it, and not just be stuck with whatever you've got out of the webcam. It'll work for the webcam as well. It doesn't matter what camera you're using, you can still apply. So I'm using OBS, and I will be using Affinity Photo to help make the LUT, but you can use Photoshop. There's probably some other software out there that you can use, but I know those two definitely can do it. So the first thing you do, you have your setup, how you're going to have it. You have your lighting, how you want to have it. You have your camera set up, and everything is how you are going to be filming it in the future. You then record some video with it and grab a still. So let's move over. So you grab a still. This is the still that I grabbed from this setup. Okay, looking happy there. So this is the dark setup that I would normally have. I've just found out that it works with this lighter daytime setup. So I've got the lights on that I would be using. I'm in the place I'm going to be doing it with the camera that I'm going to be using. So you've got your still, then you go about doing your edit. So hang on, let's just do it the other way. So some adjustments. So what you want to do, you probably put in some level adjustments, bring your black down to where you want it, bring your highlights up to where you want them, and get your mid ground where you want it. I'm just going to do this quick, just, you know, don't judge me too harshly on how this looks. Maybe curves. Oh, we need some exposure in there, quite low. Up, curves. You know, put it how you want it. That's a bit too contrasty for me. Some people like to do this. Whoops, this faded look. You know, you just bring up the darks a little bit. Saturation. It's a bit too much for me. Right, so you'd make the look that you want. You'd grade it as a photo. Now, bear in mind that this would be a JPEG, so you can't push it as far as you would with a RAW photo. Actually, this is a PNG, but so then you've graded it. Now, in Affinity, what you can do is File, Export LUT, LUT, Lookup Table. Now, exported look. Now format, they're in different types of format, but the one that OBS needs, it needs a PNG as a lookup table. Now this won't export it as a PNG. I don't know if Photoshop does. Basically in Photoshop you'd go File, Export, Color Lookup Table and do this, but I basically just exported it as a .cube. I basically left everything as default, and then you'd export it. And what you'd get would be Where are you? What you get is this. You get this exported. No, that one. Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera streaming LUT.LUT.cube. Now, OBS can't use that. It needs one of these PNG ones, but it comes with its own PNGs. So if you go back into here, you select your camera as your source, you go to right click, filters, and then you can add, apply LUT. Now I've already got it applied there, but you can apply one in here and click browse, right? And it will, if you click browse, it should open their default location, which is this, which is in C program files, OBS Studio, data, OBS plugins, OBS filters / LUTs. And these are the ones that you can get. And you're going to grab this original one here. There should be a PNG file. You're going to grab this one and you are going to make a copy. Do not move to desktop. Copy. Copy to, there you go. Copy to desktop. Okay. Or wherever you're going to keep it. Doesn't really matter for now. We're going to move it in the end. So then what you're going to do, you're going to open this in Photoshop or in Affinity Photo here. Once you've got this, now this basically, if you used this LUT in OBS with your camera, it would do nothing, right? It is the original 1-to-1, right? So it's when you see this color, use this color, use that color. So it doesn't change the look at all, but we are going to apply the LUT that we just exported to this and then save this as a LUT. So then it should, when you apply it, it will apply the changes that we've made to it. If that makes sense? Does that make sense? So rather than applying our LUT to the image, we're applying it to something we apply that does nothing. Yeah. So what you do, so basically in Affinity, there's one down here called LUT, L-U-T, right? Load LUT. Now I assume there's something similar in Photoshop. I don't know what it is, but given that you can export a LUT from Photoshop, I'm pretty sure you'll be able to apply one. And then it just becomes a case of trying to find where on earth we saved that one. Okay, so the one that we exported last time after doing our color grade on the still that we grabbed, grab that one, open it, and you see it's made the changes. It's quite subtle. I don't know if it's, yeah, it's quite subtle. So that's the original. We've applied our LUT and that is what it is doing to the colors. So there you go. With that applied, you then save. Oh no, not save. That's different in Affinity. You export. Don't export LUT. Just export this as an image. Export it as a PNG. Leave everything as it was. Just it's the original size, everything like that. And then you can call it whatever you want. Now I've already saved it there. That's the one that I've used before. So Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera streaming LUT.png. Okay. So there, now you've saved it, and you can close that. You don't need to save any of those. Happy? No, do not save that. Okay. Tidy up. And there you've got the PNG LUT that you've just exported. So that is what you're going to use now in OBS. So back in OBS, or what? This is specific to OBS, I think. But there will be a way for you to apply it as a LUT. So once again, go to your source, camera one, go to filters, down in the bottom effect filters, click the plus icon, and it is there, apply LUT. I'll just do it just to LUT 2. Let's see what happens if we do it again. path, you can either type the path in or just browse to it. And now it's brought up the original ones. There. And you find your PNG that you just exported and apply that. Go. And wow, that is overdone. But that's because it's applying it twice. If I get rid of the original one, we're back. So raw out of camera, not raw, but feed out of camera the LUT that we've just made. Simple as. It's easier than the explanation of it, I'll tell you that. So, and you can do that for both cameras. I've not done one for the top-down camera because I was fairly happy with the view, and there's a few complications with the top-down camera, but it works well enough for now. So yeah, that's it. I hope they find that useful if you're ever going to use it. I would recommend using OBS to do some of your video stuff. You can do all sorts with it. You can just record your screen capture and anything like that. It's really, really good. So yeah, that's that. One thing that this channel is about for me is holding me to account, because I have a way of setting out with good intentions, and then along the way something changes and it just goes awry, and there's only me that knows about it, so it doesn't really bother me that much if I don't do what I set out to do. So part of this channel is me saying what I'm hoping to do, and then the follow-up will be whether I manage to do it. So as well as a log for myself, it's a bit of holding myself to account. So this coming week, it's currently Wednesday, and I go away to travelling in Scotland in a week and a half, so I might get one more live video in. I am currently finishing off the edit to a paragliding vlog. Now, it will probably be my first paragliding vlog that I will publish. I've done a few when I was learning, but now that I'm actually out flying with the club, and traveling with the club, there's going to be a few more. It's going to be nerve-wracking because a few of the guys that I've met and got to know at the club are going to be hopefully watching it, which is going to be weird. I don't know why. It's different when it's a faceless, unknown, anonymous audience. When it's people that you know, I find it really nerve-wracking. But the hope is that I'm going to finish producing that vlog and I'm going to include it in a live stream. And the live stream I'm going to do, hopefully next week, is going to be taking some of the images that I've got from that and, you know, going a bit through my workflow of what I'm looking for, because I haven't edited some photos for ages. I've not been on Instagram for ages either, and I want to get going again. So it's going to be here are some of the images and the story behind the images that I've got, and to break it up, I've got a two-part vlog that's going to be put into the live stream. So I hope you come back and see that one. It's up to you, obviously. But it'd be great if I got some other feedback on it from people that I don't know, which I can probably take less personally. So that is the hope for this week, to get that vlog edited and to pull everything together to make a live stream about a story behind the photos for next week. Also, the other thing, I want to get out and I want to take the GFX out for a spin. Right, just a sec. So, yeah. So this is by far my most favorite camera, digital camera, and the GFX. Now this is a kind of a medium format beast. And there's a story about getting it. There's a vlog on this channel somewhere if you have a look for that, about the GFX and why I got it and what was involved in getting it. But to me it's a commitment. It's a statement of intent for commitment to quality. You know, there's people that do YouTube videos using red cinema cameras which is way overkill, but hey, it's a statement of intent. And my aim is, as I've said in the previous one of these live streams, is that I want to pursue the things that I find interesting and enjoy, and be able to do that for a living. So I want to do paragliding, I want to do content creation of things that interest me, and I am fed up of the rules that people put in place of, you know, your Instagram account has to have a theme and it has to stick to this. I've tried that. It is boring for me, right? I want some variety. So I want to take the GFX out for a spin. I want to photograph the things that I really find interesting. I'm not going to start 3 different Instagram accounts, one for the outdoors, one for my paragliding, and one for cityscape stuff. It's just all going to go on there. So that is also my hope for this coming week. Now, as I said, I'm going to go away on holiday soon, and it's going to be landscapey and lifestyle-y. So I'm going to be certainly taking this, but I also want to get it out. Don't quote that out of context. I want to take the GFX out paragliding. Now, with the Sony being fixed here now, I have been using that one for paragliding because it's small, it's light, it's really good for sports, it's really good fast autofocus. But the GFX, the images are just better. They are just such a nice quality, and I really like that about it. So I want to take this out, and I want to take it flying, which is a bit nerve-wracking because it weighs a ton. Compared to the Sony, it weighs a ton. It's on par with the DSLR, even though it's mirrorless. Yeah. So that is my intention for this week. Paragliding vlog done. Live stream next week about that and editing the photos for it so that I can publish those before I go away. I think that's it. I think that's everything. That's everything that I wanted to cover. As always, the info is there for you to follow me if you want it. I'm not going to push it any more than that. I really hate it when people say don't forget to share, like and subscribe. You know, when you start a video, you watch something on YouTube and there's about a minute's worth of admin and housekeeping of stuff, of click the bell icon to be noticed. No. So they're there if you need them. Love to see you and chat with you on any of those. That would be great. I'm not on Twitter as much, but Instagram certainly. You can grab me on YouTube or over on the blog, dropping comments. It's great. That's it. I think we're done. So all that remains is for me to say thank you ever so much for watching. I hope you liked the live stream. Let me know how it goes. If there's anything that you think I could improve, because obviously we had a few technical issues at the start of this one. There were technical issues on the last one, which have kind of worked their way out. So we're getting there. We're getting a bit nearer. But feedback. I need feedback. I need people to tell me this is what it's about. So we're closing in on an hour here of me talking non-stop, and I was worried that I would be very and ah, which maybe it's the other way around. Maybe when the camera goes on you can't quite shut me up. Enough. Right. Thank you ever so much for watching. I hope you have a great week. Get out there and do the things that you love doing, and let me know. See you in the next one. Ta-ra.